Hi everyone, I'm Danielle Hunt, Chief Executive at Pharmacist Support, and I'd like to welcome you to the second instalment of our ACTNow Wellbeing Workshop panels. These panel chats are brought to you as part of our ACTNow Wellbeing campaign. The campaign runs for 5 weeks and it started on the 25th of September, which was World Pharmacist Day, and runs all the way up to the 29th of October. Each week we'll be focusing on one of the well-established 5 ways to wellbeing. These sessions will bring an informative, evidence-based element of each of the wellbeing themes. They'll be busting myths and sharing examples of wellbeing in action, providing a taster of some of the tools that are used by many to support their mental health. Each week we'll be chatting with our resident Pharmacist Support wellbeing expert, Melissa Cochrane, who will be providing a science-based look at each of the wellbeing themes and why they work. Plus, we'll be inviting some special guests to share their mental health and wellbeing experiences with us. And without further ado, we've got a great panel lined up today. So our guests today include Elsy Gomez-Campos. Elsy founded the Black Pharmacist Association in 2018 to promote and support the interests of UK pharmacists, trainees and pharmacy students who identify as Black. She's also the president of the PDA BAME network. So welcome, Elsy. We are also joined by Nahim. Nahim is a pharmacist and works across community, academia and GP practice. He also kindly volunteers his time as a pharmacist support ambassador and fundraisers for the charity. So welcome, Nahim. And last but not least, I mentioned it before, but we got Melissa Cochrane. Melissa is a charity's resident wellbeing expert. Melissa has an extensive background in psychotherapy, counselling and wellbeing, and joined the charity earlier in the year as our Senior Wellbeing Development Officer. And she's here to really shape our wellbeing service. So welcome all, and thank you all for joining us today. I've got a few questions to ask, and I'm going to start with you, Melissa, if that's okay, to talk about this week's theme, which is all about giving. So looking at this week's theme, perhaps you can explain to us how the practice of giving to others can support our own well-being. What's the science and research tells us about gratitude and service?
Great. Well, seeing yourself and your happiness as linked to the wider community can be really rewarding, and this creates connections with people around you. So we know that volunteering can be very beneficial in terms of increasing well-being, as it can feel good to have a sense of purpose and to feel like you're contributing to the greater good. Additionally, in terms of happiness, many of us misunderstand what will actually make us happy. So we'll often think that things like, making more money or having a better job, getting a new car, we think that these things will make us happier. And generally we're wrong about that. So up to a certain point, it's true. So if you live in poverty, you'll be happier if you have enough money to live on. That's absolutely true. But we know from the research that beyond a certain point, more money does not lead to more happiness. So just adding more and more doesn't make you happier. Mm-hmm. So what does give us happiness? There's ample research showing that doing things for others is one of the things that brings true happiness. So we can feel happier if we spend our money on other people rather than ourselves. We can also feel happier if we do random acts of kindness for others. So for example, at the University of British Columbia, they did some happiness research. And in this research, they gave each participant either $5 or $20. And the participants in the study could either spend it on themselves or on others. If they spent it on others, it was either as a gift for someone or by giving it to charity. And what they found in this study was at the end of the day, the people who spent the money on others were happier, while the people who spent it on themselves were not. So there's lots of research showing things like that. And that's part of what giving does for us. It helps others, but it also helps us. It's a really powerful thing to do.
Mm. I love the random acts of kindness and when you see things that people do, and I'm always really interested in that. Particularly at the moment, there's been a lot of talk about kindness and being kind, particularly during the pandemic. We should be kind, we should be considering others. But is there any research on what the impact of kindness can have on people?
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of kindness, one of my favorite experts is Dr. David Hamilton, and he writes about the contagiousness of kindness. So research shows that when we're kind to someone, that person is likely to then be kind or kinder to about 5 other people that day or the next day because of how you made them feel. So if you think about this exponentially, which each of those people then sparking kindness behaviors in 5 people, it really makes a massive difference. So we feel better for having been kind. The receiver of the kindness feels better for it too. And then they go out and put that forth into the world. So we really can make a big difference by behaving in a kind way. And on a practical level, I like to remember this at the beginning of each day and try to go out of my way at least once to be kind to someone. So to try to keep that at the forefront when I'm thinking about planning my day in the morning, and that can help me to remember.
Oh, brilliant. That's lovely. Thanks, Melissa. Elsy, I'm going to come on to you if that's okay. I'm just really interested in what motivated you to found the Black Pharmacist Association.
Oh, yes, that is a question that I usually get. And the truth is that at some point of my career, I came to the effects of what racial discrimination can do to you. And at that moment, I felt that I reached out to different people, different organizations, and the help was not enough, or was not the one that I really needed. And I felt that perhaps there is a gap of an organization that can look in a compassionate manner the needs of the UK Black pharmacists, because there is we are part of the profession and we collaborate and we contribute so much. But we cannot ignore that sometimes they suffer some sort of discrimination, subtle, very often, and that have got an effect of your mental health, as it did to me. At some point, I felt extremely depressed, extremely unvalued, and I was questioning myself, what will happen now? And I realized that I had a lot to provide, a lot of experience, expertise, time. And the one thing that I didn't want was for someone that perhaps was in the same situation as me, or found themselves in the same situation as me, felt that isolation. And I thought perhaps putting together a network where people of similar ethnicity, with similar life experience, and with the same willingness to give to others and to contribute to the profession, could come together and talk about issues that affected each other and support each other, and perhaps increase the visibility of the Black pharmacists. So that, I think that was the main motivation. It was in a way it was personal, but it was about making sure that my personal experience was not just left with me, me suffering it, living it, and that was the end of it. Because what if someone else was in the same situation? What if someone else could benefit from what I've learned from this experience? And that is how the UK Black Pharmacist Association came about.
That's brilliant. And I'm guessing that has then had a positive impact on so many other people. And you were really honest about what drove you to do that. So I'm wondering if the act of you supporting Black pharmacists through the organisation has an impact on you, and has that supported your own well-being?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, as I said to you, at some point I was really depressed. And every time that you get someone saying thank you, every time that you get someone saying, oh, this is what was missing, it gave me a sense of happiness. It gave me a sense of pretty much relaxation, lack of stress, because someone have been helped. So in terms of my mental health, it was great. Also, it was a great motivation for myself, you know, coming out and trying to do more and more for the organization. So it was as positive for the members as it was for me. I think, to tell you the truth, I gained a lot from it. And also I gained lots and lots of confidence as well, because knowing that people needed the group, knowing that people needed that support, gave me the confidence to be more vocal about the needs and being more outspoken about it. So it was a win-win situation overall.
That's fantastic. And I suppose I know that you volunteer your time in other ways. I suppose I'd like to ask you what you feel are the biggest barriers to kind of giving your time and volunteering, and how did you overcome that?
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. I think giving can be quite vicious, because the more that you give, the more that you want to give. I found myself that I am volunteering, doing in the UK Black Pharmacist Association. I find myself volunteering for the PDA-BME. I find myself volunteering for another organization, which is called Action for Trustee Racial Diversity UK. And what we do there is trying to increase the numbers of BME trustee in charities within the UK. Mm-hmm. And I also formed a group of which is called Run for a Speaker, which is a Toastmasters, part of Toastmasters International, and that is to help the community to increase the leadership skills and to increase the public speaking skills. And I find my time, being pulled from many different places, and it's about trying to find that balance where I don't feel overwhelmed, because with every single voluntary activity comes responsibility. Yeah. And therefore you don't want to let anyone down. You don't want to miss any deadline. And it's about finding that balance and also having a family that you want to look after. And it's just about being extremely organized, being extremely realistic with you, and also surrounding yourself with people, like-minded people that want to do exactly the same like you, where you can't share that responsibility and get the support when needed. And being very honest with you, saying when you need time out, you need time out, because you don't want to burn out and then let everyone down. So yes.
Yeah, that's great. And Nahim, I think you're another one who volunteers for various organisations, as well as Pharmacist Support. So from your perspective, what prompted you to want to volunteer?
Well, I saw the advert for being the Pharmacist Support Charity Ambassador, and I thought that's something that I could give back to the profession. And I thought that, giving my time, I could help others.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's lots of benefits. What do you personally get out of volunteering, and what do you see are the benefits? And does volunteering support your well-being?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's something positive that you give to other people, and in return, you get that positivity as well. I think, finding out about others, connecting with others has always been, really good. Learning about other people's experiences as well. I think these are all other, well-being topics. So I think you get a lot, from volunteering. I really enjoy going to conferences and talking to other pharmacists and trainees and seeing how they get along, and what the charity can, how they can support them. So it feels like they can be supported in return.
So the charity is always looking for volunteers. So what would you say to people listening today who may be interested in volunteering but haven't done so before?
I think the hardest part is applying for it. So what I would say is find out more about the role, how much commitment is needed. And I think that, you'll get a lot of support as well, finding about the role. But I think the main thing is, you'll get a lot of positivity from it as well. Learning from others, connecting with others.
That's great. Thank you to you both, because charities often heavily rely on volunteers. But like you said, Elsy, sometimes there's that worry, how much time is it going to take? You have to consider your own well-being. So I think you're completely right, Nahim. Asking about the time commitment, being really clear is so important. But I know lots of charities just value any amount of time people can give to help, particularly certain expertise and experiences. So it's really great. I suppose, Melissa, do you have any final thoughts, particularly listening to Elsy and Nahim's experiences of volunteering, some of the benefits on their well-being and some of the challenges? Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, two things stood out to me that both of them said, and I think they're actually quite interconnected. I'll be interested to hear what you think. But like, Elsy, you mentioned that when you started the Black Pharmacist Association, suddenly you had a community. Like, you had a community of people who understood your lived experience. You had a community of people who could support each other. And I think that that's really powerful. And I think, Nahim, you mentioned that when you volunteer, you make connections with others. You know, you're going to conferences or wherever, and you're connecting with other pharmacists. And I really think at the end of the day, in terms of well-being, like probably two of the most powerful things are community and connection. And so I really picked that up from the two of you. And I wonder if that, what I just said, resonates with you.
I will say yes, absolutely. You know, volunteering is another, for me, it's another social activity. You know, getting to know different people that as a pharmacist, perhaps I would have never met. You know, because of you know, you work as a pharmacist, you tend to meet with pharmacists, you tend to go to activities pharmacist related. But for the other volunteering activities that I have done outside pharmacy have allowed me to get connected with people that were like-minded like me. They mind, you know, are passionate about the same things that I am passionate about, but they are not within my social network. And that has allowed me to actually expand, you know, the people that I get to know, and the interaction is very positive for me. I get to learn a lot, and I get to share a lot as well, which is quite. We are social people, and I think being, you know, volunteering your time to whichever charity it is always going to be. It's going to be positive. You know, it's going to be positive for yourself and obviously for the people that you are helping.
I think a sense of community, being part of a community, is really, really helpful for your well-being. Even if you couldn't do something formal, I would say, you know, is there someone in the street you live in that needs help? You know, do you have a family member that needs help? You know, and being part of that, you know, community is really important. And for me, you know, for volunteering for the charity, it means connecting with other pharmacists and being part of that, you know, community.
Definitely, and thank you to you all for being so open and honest, because I think it's really good to hear other people's experiences of it, and hopefully that's inspirational. So if this chat has inspired you to want to give back, I would encourage you to check out our information on our website. 2021 marks the 25th anniversary of our Listening Friends peer support scheme. And tying in with this week's theme of give, we've just launched recruitment for our Listening Friends volunteer scheme. So if you've not heard of Listening Friends is our peer support service. It gives the opportunity for anybody working within the profession, students, trainees, pharmacists, to talk to one of our trained volunteer pharmacists who really understand the challenges about any of the pressures or the stresses working or studying in pharmacy may bring. You can find further details on the website, but it's a really great scheme and something I know that lots of people have benefited from. And like you said, Nahim, being a pharmacist and kind of sharing that experiences people find really important. What's involved in that, the time constraints, the training involved, all that information and how to apply is on the website. So if you are interested, you can find out more. But there's also other opportunities to volunteer for the charity, so you'll be able to find out a little bit more about that. I hope everybody listening to the chat has already checked out our Wardley Wellbeing Hub and have signed up to our Act Now campaign. By doing this, you'll receive lots of great information and links to the latest wellbeing resources, and also our new wellbeing learning platform, which is really great. So you'll get information on that. You'll also find out about future wellbeing chats like this for the themes in the upcoming weeks, our volunteer opportunities and just general wellbeing activity that the charity's taking part in. So I'd just like to say thank you. I always find these conversations really great and really inspiring. We hope it's inspired you listening today, and particularly inspired you as part of the campaign to act now. So to allow time for your well-being, to consider the needs of your colleagues, and most importantly, to take some action. So take care, and we'll see you at next week's chat. Thank you.